Well, we're taking the long bed over to alignment, so check the steering wheel out. I don't know how people just drive around like this, man. I mean, race car, I get it, but look at that. And this one was not hit in the front. This was the one that was hit in the side of the bed. So unless the rear end is bent and throwing everything out of whack in the front, then this is crazy that people just out cruising around like this. We'll see what the alignment shop says. Oh man, Eddie's put this one up here on the frame rack for me. Why do I not want to do this, y'all? Man, I hate doing this kind of stuff. Look at that. Oh my God. I hate it even worse because we're right here against this glass. So we gotta be careful not to bust it. I do have another glass back there, but yeah, so we're gonna get in here and grind all this paint off, weld a tab on it here, and start pulling it out right here. All right, Ed says the glass is gonna bust. Let's hope it don't. Oh, open that up, Ed. Did you close the frame rack?
Probably not.
Open that one up. Huh?
Hold on. Oh, you want a strap?
Yeah, we probably should put a strap on it. Maybe. I don't know.
Emergency brake on.
All right, let me tap that with a hammer a little bit. So quite a bit of pressure on all that. What did y'all think about that? That's pretty cool. See John make that pass in that in the car. I'm impressed. Honestly, I'm impressed. I really did not expect it to go straight. I kind of expected it to you know, dart off to the side or something. Have to make some kind of adjustments. Like he was supposed to just, you know, or not he was supposed to. He wanted me to just make little steps, and he said straight up that he got into it and just kept filling everything out, and everything just felt so good that he just stayed into it and made the full rip pretty much. He let off a little bit early on the out the backside, but that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool to see that car after all that work, be able to actually see the car. I think is almost better than driving the car. It really is. To be able to not have to worry about nerves or not have to worry about messing up and just stand there and see all your hard work go straight and not have to watch it on a video camera and on the TV. I think that was better than making a pass, honestly, y'all. It really was, because you can, yeah, you make a first pass in it, but you're re-watching your footage on, you know, either your buddy's phone or on YouTube or whatever, and it's just not the same as standing right beside your car and watching that thing make a lick down the track, man. So awesome. However, you know, we had some fuel issues. I spoke to Magna Fuel today, sorted some things out, so we will be going over that here soon. We had the trans brake not working, and we had the air shifter still not working. Two-step was not working. That's tied in with the trans brake, obviously. So that's a little bit of not necessarily wiring being wrong. It's like just knowing what pin to put them on. So when Chris did wiring, he labeled every color code for inputs and outputs and all that, but he actually didn't label every, like, what each one is. I think he just slipped his mind, because Chris is pretty good about, you know, being organized and all that. Like, he did a good job, but I think it honestly just slipped his mind. And so we are leaving work. I've left work early. It's 4 o'clock. We have the trailer hooked up behind us, and I'm running up here to drop this off with Chris Moore. He said just bring it to him for a day or two, and he's gonna run through this thing and sort the wiring out. When he come to the house last week, you know, we were still in a rush again, kind of, and he wired the air shifter and wired the drive shaft speed sensor and all that, and then we didn't have time to set it up in the Holly. And so I think that's what he's basically going to do this time, is just leave it for a day or two, and he will make sure this time the wiring is right and everything is pinned correctly and it's set up in the Holly. Hopefully he can figure all that out, and we will be good to go this time, I hope. We're going to make a couple wiring changes again. from fuel pump issues. We're gonna change the fuel pumps up a little bit. I'll be going over that. So I'm gonna talk to Chris about that, and that should be that on the wiring side. So hopefully he only has it for a day or two. I can get it back and start diving into the fuel issues, and I'll go over all that with y'all. So let's make this trip. Chris is about an hour up the road from me, and let's get this car dropped off. So I've had a couple people ask, how do you like the truck? So we are towing up here to Chris, like I said. Okay, we have Percy in the box, and I figured I would just show y'all some numbers real fast. First off, I did buy a Cummins. If you follow the Paper Chaser series on this channel, I know it gets a lot less views than the car, but it's pretty interesting. And as you've seen in that one of the recent episodes, I bought a Cummins dually, possibly to pull the race car with. However, we will not be pulling the race car with the Cummins dually. This truck has done absolutely phenomenal. This is a 17 F250 6.2 gas. Due to the cost of diesel, I am not really interested in going back to diesel right now, especially going back to going to a Dodge Cummins. If I'm going to go to a diesel on anything, it's going to be a Ford Super Duty. But I've been trying to buy Super Duties. They're a little farther out of my reach than I want to pay. But check this out. Check these numbers out. So, pardon the tire pressure sensors. We still have not done them. Let's see here. So that's instant miles per gallon, as you can see right there. The average miles per gallon, 9.1, and that has not been cleared since before we went to TKM. So TKM's up near Charlotte. I'm near the beach, so it gets really hilly up near there. And then yesterday going to Fayetteville, that also was included. So the average, pulling past week or two and little tiny bit of daily drive I've done, 9.2 miles per gallon. Like I said, there's the instant miles per gallon. Right now, you see they keep jumping all over the place. We're approaching, coming up on a stoplight. But I mean, you just can't beat it. Oh, we're gonna have to run a stoplight. We are not stopping. Nope, barely made it through. So you can't beat that for a 17. So therefore, having a 17 gas truck and not having to deal with diesel prices or diesel maintenance, which I don't really maintain none of my trucks. I pretty much sell them before they need any real maintenance. So I haven't. It's been a long time since I've paid taxes on a vehicle, being a dealer, and it's been a long time since I've had to have one inspected. Besides inspected before selling it, but actually like where you have to go do your inspection and your tags. I don't remember when's the last time I had actual tags on a vehicle. It wasn't dealer tags. It's probably been 6 years or so now, maybe even more. But it's been a while, and I haven't kept a vehicle for more than a year, but a couple times. So I think we're gonna be hanging on to the Super Duty. So that's my answer to how I like the Super Duties. I like it enough that I have a crew cab, 4-wheel drive, 2004 Dodge Cummins 24 valve, sitting at my shop that I own, and I could very well sell this truck and keep that Cummins, and I just don't think I'm gonna do it. I really, really, really dig this Super Duty. Really dig the being able to pull. Now we do have it switched where we have took 6th gear out of it. So currently, like right now towing, we do have 6th gear dropped out of it. So that's why only 5th is highlighted, and the RPMs will hang right there above 2,000. So not bad at all. If you put 6th gear back in it, if you are actually on flatlands pretty decent, like yesterday when I was coming home, I didn't even realize that I had 6th gear back in it. You can see it drops right there at about 1900. So even at 5th gear, it actually does not run much higher than, overdrive does not actually run much higher than 5th gear at all. So it's just, and that's at 60 miles an hour. So I don't know. I'm very, very happy with it. A couple people said, let's drop 6th gear back out of it. It just tows better, but you can see even right there with 6th gear taken out of it, it still only goes up to right above 2,000 RPMs at 60 miles an hour, and we're in a 55 miles per hour zone. So we're running cars down and passing them with the trailer loaded in a gas truck. Extremely, extremely nice. So I'm definitely so far a big fan of the 6.2 gas truck. If you're considering getting you a tow vehicle and you don't want a diesel, I highly, highly, highly recommend these trucks. One other thing to keep in mind for the numbers and everything like that, of course, it has not been recalibrated for being on 35-inch tires. So we are on 35-inch tires. If we weren't on 35s and you left it on factory size tires or just 33s maybe, you'd probably even get even better results than I'm even getting. And you'd probably like it even better. But me, I need at least a 35 or 37. Examined it out real fast before lunch. Said it's white, and then later this afternoon we'll hang it and paint the outside with the rest of the vehicle. Had rust down here in the corner, so I literally just took a bunch of freaking clear coat. I mixed some of my white base coat in with my clear coat and literally just piled it on. You can see it just sitting in there puddled up. Obviously it don't hides it, but it helps. Get that thing hung. All right, so we got this one in from a customer. It's actually been a customer of mine for about 10 years practically, it feels like. He painted it all himself, so he was going through some stuff in life and decided that he was gonna try to flip a couple cars. This thing's been sitting a year because he couldn't finish it. So he's replaced some stuff, as you can see, like this bracket's white. That hood bracket up there is white. He's replaced some stuff, but then this thing, he said, was back and he couldn't get all this stuff up here to line up. So he brought it by for me just to do a simple frame pull on. All I gotta do is just get it where it mocks up, everything lines up, and then back to him for assembly. So if you look closely right here, that appears to be a kink. It's not from the factory. He's complaining about everything being back. So we have it there and we have it there. So more than likely, this piece is gonna be back without measuring. I don't really measure or nothing. I'm just like y'all guys. I don't have some fancy tools. If you look down that, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, definitely looks like this side back here is back. A lot of this stuff, believe it or not, a lot of these big body shops kind of brainwash you that you need fancy equipment and measuring devices and everything, measure this stuff when you really don't on minor hits. We're talking minor hits. We're not talking about hits that have destroyed the rails that then affect alignment and all that. A lot of this minor stuff, you can literally eyeball most everything and fit your parts together to get it right. So we're just going to pull this back, hopefully not tear. We're just gonna pull this forward again off common sense about where it looks straight. Okay, so I'm gonna do it like that. It actually looks pretty decent. I think it might need a little bit more, which is perfectly fine because I don't want to have to turn around and sledgehammer it back forward. If it is pulled too far, I can just put a block right here and tap it with a sledgehammer back. But I'd rather just creep up on it. So we're gonna take our clamp back off, fit our headlight, close our hood, and see how it lines up. Right, so we're close, but we're not quite there. So if you look at this side, that headlight is pretty much flush with the outside of the hood. If you look at this side, the headlight is under the hood. It's not quite flush. I mean, a lot of people would call that good enough, but not me. That's laying under there just a touch. So we're gonna take the headlight back out, pull it a little bit more. All right, so we sprayed this one yesterday, and look at the clear. It dried in the air. Mike, do you see where that clear dried dripping? Yeah. So this thing had, when I first started painting this, it had little tiny fish eyes every freaking where. The body of the car did not have an issue, just the hatch had an issue. So I threw fisheye eliminator in it, and I straightened the base coat out, and the base coat was all nice and straight and looked good. And then when I come in on the clear coat, it started getting fish eyes in it too. You can see like a bunch of the little fish eyes right there in that reflection. Okay, but what happened was, by the time you got up here, look at these craters. So they were huge. So I literally, you can see all the runs right there, I loaded it on there. Number one, you want to, if you're having an issue like that, you want to load it on so that tomorrow when you come back in, which will be today, you can sand it all down and straighten everything out and repaint it. So I went ahead and loaded it on there, but it actually puddled. Look at that puddle, the size of that puddle of clear coat in the center here, and it's actually still wet underneath practically. It's huge puddle of clear coat. It is crazy. It is crazy. This thing was so bad, you can just see in the reflection in there just all of the contamination. I mean, there was contamination everywhere. There's a long run right here because, again, I hammered it on with the intent to sand it and reshoot it. I mean, it was just, this is terrible. So this is what it looks like whenever you have a fisheye issue. You can't get it to go away. And the unique thing is that the second time I went to put clear on, after I seen that the fish eyes had come back into clear coat, normally if you get them gone into base coat and you're good, they come back the first coat of clear. I added fish eye eliminator in it, hammered it over on the first coat after I seen it. Second coat, I put more fish eye eliminator in it to make sure we got rid of it all, which always works. This is the first time I've ever seen it come hit twice as hard in the second coat of clear with a ton of fisheye remover. So literally, like, it come back twice as hard in the second coat.
Basically, it looks like I painted it.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. So it's white. It's on a Ford Escape. It's beat all up. I don't know if I'm about to hang it and send it, or if I want to sand it and repaint it. I really don't. Well, I decided to go ahead and just freaking sand it all out. So you can see right here, if you look at the edges, you see how these edges look loose? Like pretty loose? This is where your problem's gonna happen. This is probably gonna give me an issue. Okay, I can actually feel that edge because I can't feather edge it out because it just keeps all coming off because it's so thick on there. These are cut throughs, so all of these places are probably going to give me issues. This is not what you want to see whenever you are repainting something, especially this fresh. I just painted this yesterday. So you really, if you're doing some project like this at your house and you mess up, you really don't want to get back on it this fast. Sit it in the sun, let it bake. I went ahead and just stripped this whole side. Basically, this side right there started as this, but instead of leaving this, if all of this edge right here wrinkles, then you'll see it. So what I did on this side was, since there was a couple places, so I just stripped this all the way back to here. So if it wrinkles in here, it won't be as noticeable because it's probably gonna build up with clear. It's probably gonna bury it in there. And then if it wrinkles up here, this is up high. So basically, I just stripped this whole side to move my failure points because I know this is probably gonna cause me an issue so that you don't see it. That's the whole point of it. This side over here, I literally started to cut through. I would strip this whole side also to move my failure points. It'd be nice to sand it all the way to there and then put it right up in here where this latch is at. But I just simply don't got time. I'm trying to get back on banging this thing out. All of this cut through, I took razor blades. You can see how thick some of this stuff was on here. This is where the clear puddled up in there. So I just went ahead and pulled all this up because this is gonna shrink back and this is gonna tighten up and this is gonna cause you an issue. So since we're going this far, we're at least gonna go ahead and strip the puddles out. I wish I would have stood this thing up yesterday when I seen the puddles and just drained it off, so I would have just had runs across the face to sand off instead of puddles to dig out. But I have took it, Scotch Brighted it all down. What we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna put some 1K primer over it. This will not prevent failures at all, but this will help increase your odds of success, especially when you're trying to do something this wrong and get back on it this fast. This is extremely dangerous, I guess you can say, an extremely high chance of failure. So extremely high, but we want this thing done today. So we're just gonna put this on here and we're actually not even gonna sand this. So I'm just gonna build this up some and then I'm just gonna leave it like it is since this is white, and I'm not gonna sand it. That way it doesn't thin out. All this is hopefully doing is just helping me seal up the edges so that the new paint doesn't dive down as aggressively underneath the old paint and lift it. That's all we're trying to help stop, is it lifting basically. So we're just gonna put primer over basically everywhere that there's an edge just to try to help seal that edge up. That's all we're doing. We're not actually priming anything, as you would say, like within the word itself, you know, priming something for paint, prepping something. We're literally trying to put a band-aid over that edge. That edge is your trouble issue. That edge is your problem. That's where your problem's at, is on that edge. So everywhere that there's possibly a thin edge, we're just band-aiding it. And this is your only chance at success. Along with, when we go to paint this, we will put some hardener in our base coat and our first coat. So this is kind of a cool lesson. We'll see if this works. These flip cars, I pushed a limit on all the time. You can already see some wrinkling right here. So if you look closely, if you can see this outline right here, this is where it's starting to wrinkle. You see it right there. Okay, in person, you can see a lot better. You can see the outline of that repair. That's a wrinkle. That's where the paint is starting to wrinkle, just crack and wrinkle up because of the reaction with the new paint against that edge. Surprisingly, this fat edge is not wrinkling. Now when this all gets painted white and there's a thick layer of clear over it again, you probably won't see that, especially on a car like this. Let me see. Can you see the, yeah, oh, it just comes close. The wrinkling right there. So you see the fuzziest around the edge of that cut through? That's where the paint is wanting to wrinkle up. That is what we're trying to slow down and prevent. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you don't trap in any coats. So every single coat needs to be dry. Basically this wetness of this product is irritating that. As soon as this product dries, it no longer irritates that. So the trick is to get this product to dry before it pisses off and irritates the white. That's to sum it up in the simplest terms. So if you put it on light enough every coat, once it dries out, you're in the clear on that level. If you put this on wet and then put another wet coat over top of it and the top skim coat dries, then it's going to basically trap in wetness underneath the top air dried coat, and that's really going to piss off the old paint. All right, so that's all we've done. You can still slightly, see the outline. We're not going to sand this only because this is going white. So we're banking on it being so bright in the sun that you don't see it. That's what we're banking on. That's how we're doing this project. I just wanted to show y'all these little tricks kind of. So let's get this thing in the booth. We got to get our actual escape out. Let's get this thing in the booth, and we're going to shoot this thing and wet this thing out before lunch. What's wrong with the car market? 19 F-150, just over 21,000. The whole bed was freaking demolished, and the front corner was demolished. And we're going to try to get this truck. It's down here in Florida. I don't want to go too high. I just clicked. What do you mean I've been outbidded? I just clicked it. Man, see, that's just kind of more than I want to freaking pay. What's the miles on this thing? 165. Yeah, I don't want that because I don't have technically don't have the bed assigned to this because my bed that I have on my other parts truck is already accounted for. It is windy, so if there's wind noise, I apologize. I just got this one in. This has a 6.2 in this freaking thing. This thing is a monster. So I'm gonna dive into it, see if it runs, and see if I can get around back. I gotta take the saw and cut this bumper off because it is really tight to the tires. I don't want to mess this tread out. These are really nice tires that it already has on it. And then we are going to get this thing inside and take a peek at what's going on with it. But I'm pretty stoked about this thing. I've never had one that has a 6.2 in it. So airbags are deployed, meaning we got to send the module off. Seats are all zip tied together. But man, this truck, man, dude, this thing is nice, dude. Man, this is nice. I'm stoked about this one. Let's see if she cranks. Man, if this thing towed decent, I would literally just sell my F-250 and keep a 150. Oh man, dude. I'm hoping it's still got its cats because it's loud. Big boys sitting down in there. Man, I might really have to see if this thing tows decent. We might really honestly have to get rid of the 250 for a 150. Well, I can officially say that this is the hardest hit I think I've ever bought in my life. Now, when you're looking at this, to me, it looks like they ran up a tree. You can see how this is bowed in, or they ran up something and, bent the bumper all in and everything. That's pretty common. We see that all the time. The front end, when I looked at it at the auction, down it looks straight. I mean, your fender gaps, your hood gaps, everything looks straight. It's not like the front end's knocked over like it got clobbered on this side this way. But when we come underneath here, man, that thing is bad. That is really bad. You see how far this side is out compared to that side? Let me see if I can flip around to this side and show y'all. Yeah. That is clobbered. I mean, that thing is hit hard. That is like they ran into something concrete. This is how that's all just rusted up and all the white powder and sand and everything. It just honestly looks like they ran into freaking something concrete. Man, dude. I feel like I'm striking out on this new journey of chasing these 09 to 14 F-150s. Like, we're striking out across the freaking board. Man, I don't make my life easy, I tell you that. So we can't financially do another parts truck. So the one out front, that $7,200 mistake with the flood title, or not the flood title, it's a salvage title, but pretty sure somebody hit it. It was collision and the motor was full of water, if you remember that one. That's the front end I'm using on this truck. That's what was supposed to be going on here. So, yeah. we can't afford another parts truck, especially one this expensive. This has got a 6.2 in it, so the only thing that'd be good on it is the cab back. Basically all of the front end is screwed, and I can't afford to send another truck off to the side as a parts truck. So what we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is I think we're gonna have to swap the frame off of the one out front that had the water in the motor. We're gonna have to put that frame underneath this truck and put this 6.2 in that frame. So that's going to probably be an upcoming video. Thinking we'll start it maybe Monday. I'll just break the news to Ed. Check out our door. Man, it is crazy how good that turned out this time. You can see right down in there, it looks like a little buildup right there, a puddle. But man, it is, look, a bug got in it. It's a bug. It's crazy how good this thing turned out this time using 1K rattle can primer. Let's see if you remember, we had that spot over here and it's gone. You don't see it. You can see the edge right there a little bit. Let's see here, what else do we have? We had some cut throughs up here, plus all that orange peel. You don't see none of that, or contamination, not orange peel. You don't see none of that. And then let's see here, we had all that down in there. If you remember, which you can see a little bit of puddle back up because I put it on thick, but like it's all gone. All of that cut through. I didn't even wet sand that primer. Like I literally just shot that rattle can stuff straight out the can, as y'all seen, and just rolled with it. I didn't even wet sand it, didn't scuff it down, nothing. Absolutely amazing. It looks like right there on the edge of that, it started to want to wrinkle, which is weird because we didn't even cut through there, but it did want to start working. Look, there's so much on there, it's like buried the emblems. It's crazy. Man, dude, that is nuts. That's nuts. But now if I tried that on a customer job, guarantee it'd bite me in the butt. Guaranteed every single time. Look how good this guy's cleaning up, man. Threw some plastic dip on the wheels. You can't beat plastic dip over busted silver wheels. Got interior all cleaned out. Man, I mean, this truck just has done a huge 180 compared to how rough it was. Still fighting with a misfire though. Moved the coal pack from one cylinder. I had cylinder 7, 8, 7 first, and then I had a 7 and an 8. Moved them and it moved to 4. Changed to a coal pack and still got a misfire. I'm quitting. It's 5 o'clock. I'm not scanning it. I will scan it tomorrow. Spray a little more shiny stuff on it. Put the tow mirrors on it off the parts truck. Man, this thing has just, it has really turned around. I'll tell you that, man. It's crazy how you could take a truck that is just so nasty, so beat up. Just put a little bit of touches on it. We're gonna leave this open because everything is soaked on the inside. Let this thing dry out, air out overnight. It's crazy how you can just put a little touch on it, do a couple things for really cheap, and make these vehicles look so much better. So that's gonna be it for our Wednesday though.